Hi, I'm Larry Dignan, and we're here with Tahir Babiani. He's head of Samsung Mobile B2B, and we're going to talk about the Galaxy S21 and the S Pen and how it all fits together for business. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you.
You too. It's been a while. So I guess let's just get into the S21 launch. As far as target market goes, I mean, do you see this for mobile pros, remote work? I guess where do you see this device fitting in?
Look, I think now that every one of us has learned to work remotely, and mobile and mobility is the critical, I think, function or critical enabler for how we work, this is going to fit a very large need in terms of going forward, actually, from this year onwards. This is a device that has several features that are extensively designed for the heavy-duty mobile user in the business environment, which we think is going to be very relevant.
Now, one of the biggest features is the S Pen working with the Ultra. Can you walk me through how that's going to work? Like I'm a Note fan, and I consider the S Pen almost an ingredient of the device, where now you're kind of shifting to where the S Pen's an accessory. So I guess that's a nuance there, but how do you see the difference?
So I think that I totally agree with you. The pen is a very useful, basically, feature and functionality that we have embedded in our devices. I have to tell you, I'm a very, personally speaking, heavy S Pen user on all the devices. So it's, for me, it's invaluable. It's imperative that I have access to it. And I don't, I've gone digital basically a long time ago, and the function is very well designed. So having the pen as embedded or as an accessory is important. There are people that are not used to it, would probably get the device, I would say, from an experience point of view, and then get the pen as an add-on to see how it works. So from a combination, let's say bundling point of view, I think it works really well for those who want to get it right up front, or those who prefer to get it later on and begin to use it. So I don't think it makes a difference in terms of the experience. I think experience is still very, very good. Experience is very unique. And I think actually, give you an anecdote, it goes across age groups. My own daughter in university has now shifted to Samsung because of the pens. I mean, that's all she uses because of the notes she takes and the heavy duty sort of features that it enables her to leverage. So I think it's okay, and I think it's a very good approach to have it as an accessory, so you can buy it and use it later on.
So it'll be part of the Ultra, as it'll be part of like a case or something. I assume it's a little small to be putting a smart tag on. And then do you have any data on how it kind of interplays with how it's being used on the tab so far?
On the pen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pen actually on the tablet is very, as I was saying, it's very powerful. First of all, there are a few things that specifically, given that I'm a power user, actually, there's specifically that makes a lot of sense. One is that the touch and feel of the pen on the tablet is very natural, and the settings are very intuitive. So you actually and you can actually write as you would normally write. You don't have to change any of the behavior that you've learned in the past how many years since you were a child. So it's a very intuitive, easy to use, great UX. You can also sync it with Microsoft in the back end. So all the notes that you take, all the files are synced, or you can sync it to Google or any other Samsung Cloud, anything else that you may have in the back end, for review later on, and for organization, for annotation. So it's very well designed. And I think if you go into meetings, or if you're in the field, if you're a student, if you're a teacher, the device, the pen works really well. The other use case that I found is during video conferencing. So if I need to whip out a whiteboard with my team, or let's say 20, 30 people, I log in on any video conferencing tool, a UCAS tool, which we're using right now. And then I actually, on my tablet or my device, and I start scribbling, and I share the screen. so everybody sees what I do. So that becomes my whiteboard, and it's very, very effective. And then people usually say, well, can you send it to me? And with one click, you share it and attach it to an email, and it's done. So the experience is quite good.
And I guess the plan over time will be to add that to more devices, right? Like right now it's the Ultra, but you could see it going. I mean, it's a Tab, it's the Ultra, it's the Note. And I guess the plan over time, from what I've read so far, is that it'll be expanded to other devices.
Given the experience that we have, given the whole the fact that we think it's a major differentiation, you know, the pen plays an important role in the roadmap of our products going forward.
And then as far as the Ultra goes, between I mean, Samsung's basically rolling out the 3 devices. They had 3 price points. As far as a business user goes, which one is used the most for business? Is it that middle of the road one for like creative pros and productivity people, or is it the high end, or I guess how's it break out?
We typically, first of all, a few things to keep in mind. One is on the pricing. We paid a lot of attention to the market needs. So as you've seen on the pricing, it's adjusted to the demand and to sort of the market requirements right now. And typically it's lower than it has been before. Second thing I want to tell you, for the enterprise user, we also have an enterprise edition version, which means that you get longer cycle for software support, and you get a lot of other features for the business user, which comes standard at no additional cost. They also all have 5G obviously embedded and offered in the products. The pen is an important feature, and the cameras are really good. The cameras are exceptionally powerful in terms of not only feature, but also the software, so that for collaboration, conferencing, one-on-one and multi-user, it becomes very useful and very applicable. So to your question, we typically find that in the financial, in the sort of the high-tech industries, you get the most advanced device with the most sort of the top of the line device with all the features and embedded in it. In some of the other sectors, let's say like logistics, some of the government industries, they typically go to the other mid-priced products, which have all the functions and features, but at a slightly lower cost. So it's really the preference and the cycle and the buying cycle of the different industries that we go after.
Now, regarding the camera, you know, Samsung's emphasized that a lot, especially this year. And when you look at the cameras, do you think workers sort of appreciate the, I guess, vertical use cases of having a strong camera? Like, I know we've mentioned realty, we've mentioned, you know, a few other industries. Like, do you think we're at an inflection point where folks are going to, you know, see the phone more as a video conferencing type tool where they appreciate the camera more? Or, I mean, because the camera is usually a consumer use case. And I'm not quite sure workers, you know, exactly embrace the camera thing yet. What's your take on that for business?
I think camera is essential now. I think camera is essential. And being able to use a camera is essential. And having the right features and setup is really good. The camera system, the software, the hardware, the mechanism on a Samsung device is best in class, bar none. I think the application of that in the business realm is very, very important now. I have a tripod right now sitting with a device attached to it to be able to have video conferencing. In fact, I have several of these, depending on what type of conferencing I want to have. I think having the various sort of the modes of the camera plays a very important role as well. So I think camera is gone from a consumer-centric only feature now to a business essential. You also remember that we use cameras for scanning in the field now for frontline workers, which is, you know, for logistics, for delivery, and in the healthcare realm and so forth. So camera has become very, very important in the business side. Do
you see a case where the smartphone camera starts competing with the laptop in terms of video conferencing?
I would suggest to you that the smartphone camera is probably in many respects more resilient, more functional than the laptop because of the features it has, the software that's embedded in it. If you take a Samsung device and look at the cameras, including our new device, the software is really sophisticated. The video that you would take, the real-time communication and collaboration software that can run on it is extremely powerful. There's one other additional point I want to make. The difference that Samsung has in the marketplace is we basically push our open platform. So if you are a UCaaS, a video conferencing provider, and want to create a unique experience with Samsung, we're able to do that with our devices, right? With our phones and tablets. Because, for example, we can take the buttons on the side or certain aspects of the device and make it customized and specialized for the particular software that we may use for video conferencing in a company or broadly speaking in an industry. So I think the devices become really relevant and very important. I mean, they're powerful 5G devices. You can put them anywhere, right?
So you see a thing where, enterprises will start tailoring their conferencing experience based on, or can based on the devices they hand out?
I suggest you they're already doing it. They're already doing it. Yeah, it's tripod. They plug it on. They sort of mount it on a tripod. Some of them will have software that when you push a button on the side, the video conferencing starts. It's customized for that experience. I think that's actually already happening. So interestingly enough, Larry, you probably remember this, before this whole work from home and the whole situation that happened last year, we were actually looking at all of this. We had systems that we were pushing to do video conferencing remotely, and we would blur the background because of safety, security, privacy issues before all of this actually became a norm. So we were ahead of the game a bit. So it's already there in many respects.
Okay. In terms of the rugged devices, which are more for frontline workers and in the field, how do you see the S21 line, and how do you see the interplay with the rugged devices?
So the rugged, I think it plays a very important role for us. We launched the Xcover Pro last year with AT&T and Verizon. We have the Tab Active 3 now in the marketplace. We've seen actually the demand for these types of devices increase rapidly. It's interesting that anecdotally we noticed that the number of devices sold per business were small. So what it told us were businesses bought it to try it out, and then they bought a whole bunch more. So the average sales went up, which is consistent with the behavior you want to see in the marketplace. I think the rugged devices, especially the way we've designed it, because these are not rugged devices like a big, hefty product you can't fit in your pocket. They're actually very sleek designs. They look really good. You can carry them anywhere, and it looks like a nice device to have, not a bulky device that you have to put on your belt necessarily. So because of that, I think it will the rugged category will probably expand rapidly in the enterprise, because as a business user, either if you're in a front line or you work in a factory, if you're even a manager that want to travel but have this device available to you, you probably get a rugged device because it's multi-purpose. So we think it's a very good segment initially as niche, but will become main play going forward, especially as we add new software to it. And you'll see some big deals coming from us, I think, as in probably the beginning of this year and moving forward.
So the way to think of the S21 line is almost like a preview for what will be coming down to the rugged devices?
The S21 is, especially the Enterprise Edition, the functionality that you see in the S21 will be embedded in many of our rugged platform. It complements the rugged the devices that we have in terms of the sort of the flagship device with the rugged in a work environment. So yes, I think it's a very good portfolio to have for a given company to use.
I mean, given how much I drop my phones, like I might be into the Xcover over the other stuff.
It's true. I mean, that's why people use it, right? If you want to be safe and secure and run around, I mean, you can have a rugged in your portfolio as well.
In terms of decks, you know, we've kind of had this vision of, you know, you basically plug in your phone, it doubles as your desktop almost. And, you know, given where the Qualcomm chips are and, you know, the desktop mirroring and things like that, I mean, we're getting closer to that point. I guess, where do you think we are in terms of adopting that, you know, mass adoption, so to speak?
So I think because we began to sort of work remotely, the DeX feature was a nice to have, and in many respects, it's become a must-have now, especially as people want to get larger monitors, as people want to do mirroring for video conferencing. Now that DeX is also wireless, it enables us to add a lot more functionality and features. So DeX is something that that what we've seen is once companies adopt it, it brings down the overall cost of conferencing, of collaboration significantly. You have to train people how to use it. You have to actually show them the feature exists and how to deploy it with different types of software, and then becomes very powerful. So I think DeX will become a fundamental feature, just like the pen or the camera or 5G, as we go forward in the business environment.
All right. Anything I didn't ask about the S21 launch that I should have?
So a few things. I think basically, remember 5G, fundamental to us, and that's, I think businesses are looking for that nowadays more than ever. That whole transformation, the term that you keep hearing all the time, added to 5G, finds a whole new meaning around the applications that we now see happening in the workplace. I say I had a conversation with one of our customers, you know, he basically said that they went to a meeting and the transformation projects that they had planned a few years ago wasn't up to date. So this last year pointed them how far off they were from where they needed to be, and they can't make the same mistake again. So now they're actually thinking what next and what next after next. So I think these, you know, the S21 is a very good product to meet the needs of this transformation, work remotely, work in the office, a hybrid model very effectively. So the 5G, the pen, DeX, camera, and the enterprise edition software and security, I think it's a really good package for a business environment.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time, as always.